here are the advantages to you, et cetera, et cetera. The problem, what Bank of America will do, now I don't understand, not all Bank of America, but Bank of America, not that I'm picking on them, but they deserve it. What they will do is they will write back and they will say, well, you know, the original borrower's not going to be released on this. Yes, that's line 3 of our letter, which we told you. Okay. Wells Fargo doesn't like LLCs. Wells Fargo's response is, we don't like LLCs. If you put it in a corporation or you do this individually or put it in an inter vivos trust or do it any one of a number of other ways, it's okay. Just don't use an LLC. You will not hear me say banks are logical, ever. Why? Okay, you don't want, oh gee, you don't want it in an LLC. Okay, fine. So we'll put it, and then they list 18 different ways that we can do this. It's just we can't do it in an LLC. Okay, fine. We won't do it in an LLC. So that's what we do. And we generally wait 20 days. Okay? We wait 20, not just the 15. We don't send it certified, because certified letters tend to get bumped up. We don't send it from the law firm, because when people see something from a law firm, they're more likely to bounce it up to their legal department. Okay? We send a regular mail. And then the next question is, how do I know that they got the letter? They cash a check. That's how we know. We've had one bank not cash the check. We didn't know what the heck was going on, so we sent them another check and they cashed that one. So apparently it didn't get there. It still hasn't been cashed. It's just floating around out there. So we sent them another one and they did it. They said, oh, fine, we got it. Thank you very much. You know. So that's what we get. Now, what we are doing with this letter is called, we are creating an estoppel by acquiescence. That's the legal term for this. It's a first-year contracts doctrine, estoppel by acquiescence. My civil procedure professor called it the bump on a log rule. If I tell you I'm going to do something or ask you to object on something that will affect your rights, perhaps, you can't just sit there like a bump on a log. You have to respond. Otherwise, you acquiesce in what I've proposed. I have had one bank, and it used to be I didn't have any and I was just waiting for it. I was waiting so badly for you know, the 20 days to have us, to allow us to close, and then 6 months later have some bank challenge it. Because it would be like so much fun for me to call the general counsel of Bank of America and say, you got your law license at Walmart, didn't you? I'd say, okay, maybe they got it at Target, who knows? Have you ever heard of estoppel by acquiescence? Go look it up and call me back. I so wanted that to happen. So wanted, I mean, I was like, oh yeah, please, somebody. And one bank did. It was great. I sent him a letter that said, give this to your general counsel and ask him about estoppel by acquiescence. Now, they were really weird in their letter to try and accelerate this, because they said they started off by saying, thank you very much for your letter of 4 months ago. And we acknowledge receipt of the money and the cashing of the check. And we acknowledge that we read this, and we're very sorry we missed the 15-day deadline. Geez, your legal counsel didn't write this letter, did he? But we've checked with the Oregon housing folks who actually insure this loan, and they don't want us to do this. So we're going to have to call the loan. And so I wrote back to him. That was 14 months ago. Okay? Now, do you call it a victory? Well, I mean, the loan's still being paid, etc. You know, I mean, I would like to actually, you know, kill them and eat their young, but then we kind of got what we wanted, you know. I don't need to run around the bases twice when I hit a home run, you know, kind of thing. So we're going to kind of let it go and see if they ever respond. But it's 14 months; they're not going to respond. I mean, we're going to be beyond the statute of limitations here in a couple of months. So yes, someone finally did, and it was. I mean, I sat there going, oh, I can't take. Oh. You idiot! No, you can't say that. No, you know. Okay? Lawyers have weird sense of humor, so if we have them at all. So that is how everybody gets comfortable with this. We tell them. We tell them. Conclusions about the due on sale clause. No legal prohibition to doing sub 2. Federal government encourages subject to, despite critics' protestations to the contrary. However, you need to do it right. So what about the SAFE Act? Anybody not here at the SAFE Act? The secure and fair enforcement for mortgage licensing, which really is the SFEML, but I want to tell you something. Whenever you see a law that deals with real estate, they try and put these cute little names on our laws, okay? If you look really close on the original, there's a little asterisk. It's very faint, there's a little asterisk. And if you follow that down on every real estate law down to the bottom, it says, you know, this is the SAFE Act, this is known as the SAFE Act, the Secure and Fair Enforcement, etc. That asterisk says, this could also be known as the Full Employment Act for the Torok law firm. Because every time they do this, I get to figure out how and tell people about it. So what is the SAFE Act? SAFE Act says an individual may not engage in the business of a loan originator without first registering or being licensed as a state licensed loan originator or be able to claim an exemption. Okay? Can't talk about loans, can't originate a loan, can't take a loan application. Individual who takes a loan, who's a residential mortgage loan originator? Individual who takes a loan application or offers or negotiates the terms of a residential mortgage loan, such as seller financing for compensation. Not looking so good, is it? Here are the exemptions. A registered mortgage loan originator. Well, that's a good exemption because that says, yes, you're licensed. Oh, well. Sellers selling their own residence, buyers buying their own residence. Commercial is not covered. It's not a loan for consumer purpose when you buy a house, right? I mean, unless you're going to live there, right? Are you buying it to make a profit? Yes. That's not a consumer loan. That's commercial. So you can talk to sellers all you want about loans. They can talk to you because they're selling their residence. But the last one is my favorite one. Attorneys. Okay? I will tell you something, 40% of our legislatures are filled with lawyers, and we protect our own. Okay? I had an opportunity to go to Hawaii and swim with the sharks. They put you in this cage and lower you into the water. I got to swim on the outside of the cage. Professional courtesy. So the following are exempt. A licensed attorney who negotiates the terms of a residential mortgage loan on behalf of the client as an ancillary matter to the attorney's representation. Ancillary means in addition to representing you on something else. You can't just hire me to do this. Okay? That's all that means. I have to do something else for you. It has to be in addition to. Like maybe answer questions and do a closing. Do documents. Okay? So, what are the conclusions? Doesn't apply if you're doing it for free, doesn't apply if you're doing it for profit, doesn't apply if you're selling your own residence, doesn't apply if you're buying your own residence, doesn't apply if you're licensed, doesn't apply if you use an attorney, but it does apply if you're selling to or assisting the end user by taking an application, negotiating, or offering terms of a residential mortgage loan. What's our process? So you can't talk about owner finance, but I can. I can. So, what do I do for my clients? I prepared rate sheets. You've all seen them, I'm sure, from 6% or 8% or whatever, I don't know where we start, up to like 14% in half percentage point increments. Across the top it says 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 15, 20 across the top. Down this side it says 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 50,000, 40,000 down this way, and across here is what the monthly payment's going to be on all those loans. Okay, on my letterhead. My letterhead. So when someone says, what's my monthly payment going to be? I will tell you, this will make you money. You want to write 2 of these questions down. You do not give them a number. When they ask you, what's my down payment? You say, how much can you comfortably afford to put down? When they say, what's my monthly payment going to be? You say, how much can you comfortably afford a month? Why do I say that? I will tell you my experience, and it happened again today with the investor I was meeting down in LA. Yes?
They might tell you more than you'd planned?
Huh?
They might tell you a higher amount than you planned?
Yes, that's exactly right. But I'll tell you, a really graphic situation with one of our students in one of our coaching programs. We forced her. We pounded on her. Here was the situation, excuse me. 5.5 acres outside of Austin, rural area. Weeds this high. Mobile home. No floor. Holes in all the drywall. She approached him. He said, sure, I'll let you take over my loan payments. The loan's $85,000 on this property. She didn't want to do it. We forced her to sign the contract. Pretty much. I mean, we badgered her enough. We didn't force her. We didn't hold the gun to her head. We badgered her enough that she went and got it under contract. A week later, she gets this call and shows the property. Actually, it was someone from California. We love you guys coming in. It's great.
All that equity.
We'll sell you all kinds of things in Texas. Came in, and she said, how much is it? She said $125,000. And he said, well, what's my down payment? And you know, she wanted $7,500 as a down payment. That's what she wanted. But we pounded this into her, and she said, well, how much can you comfortably afford to put down? $80,000. And so she signs them up, and she says, I don't know if I want to do this deal, because if I do $80,000, I'm going to have to pay down that loan, and I'm not going to get the $250 a month for the next 30 years that I want to get. No.
Do another one.
No. No. Don't do that. You know, take the, this is how many other people want to live on 5.5 acres with weeds this tall in a mobile home that has no floor? Lucky? Maybe. I don't know. I'm talking to a guy down in LA today, and I told him a little bit of that story. I said, you know, I had that situation too. I had a $125,000 house in Riverside, and people were coming in, and I was saying, you know, they were asking how much down, and I was saying, you know, $5,000, and they were saying, all I have is $3,000, all I have is $3,000, all I have is this. He said, then this guy comes in, and I said, you know, I remember on one of your calls, you said, ask them how much they can comfortably afford. And so I said, you know, what the hell, I'll try this. And he said, how much can you comfortably afford to put down? And the guy said, 50 grand. Now, on a $100,000 house, if they say they can afford $8,000 a month, we can work with that.
Yeah.
Okay? That's why you ask those questions, and those questions will make you more money than just about anything else I'm going to tell you tonight. Number one, you can't talk about it anyway. You can't talk about the monthly payment. So what do? I've given you rate sheets. If they still say, how much is my monthly payment going to be? You take out the rate sheet for the interest rate that you want. Maybe it's 10%. And then you give them the 10 and the 10.5. And you say, I can't legally talk about this. The formal offer of financing has to come from my lawyer. But you can get an idea about what your monthly payment's going to be right here. Now, I will tell you, do not give them all of the rate sheets. If you want 10%, do not give them the 8% or the 7% sheet. Okay? Whatever you want, give them that sheet and the next highest one, okay? They will always assume they're going to get the lowest, so do not give them the 6% sheet at all. Okay? So now they know about what their monthly payment is. And then you ask a question of proposition. You know how much they want down. You know how much they can pay. And if it's within the range that you're looking for, understand the one question, the only question you need to know to evaluate a deal is, can I find someone to put X down and pay X per month? That's all you care about. So if you have an idea of what that is and they've come within that range, you ask a question of proposition. If I can get you that house for that much down and a payment around what you told me, will you sign the paperwork today? Now it's under contract. Now I'm going to show you a neat thing later on with our contract.
So you haven't arranged the terms of the loan, though you signed the
Nope,
contract?
nope. Maximum, all you're putting in the contract is the maximum interest rate. You haven't negotiated with them at all. And in fact, if you realize, if you do a traditional loan, they don't know what their exact payment's going to be until closing income. And in fact, I have had lenders say, get the paperwork signed before you tell them what their loan payment's going to be. Actually, get the paperwork signed before you tell them that they've been approved for the loan. Okay. So how do you talk to the buyers? Well, don't discuss the terms of the loan. Provide a general loan payment sheet in our letterhead. This is from me, okay? It's not you.